Meine Damen und Herren, unser nächster Gast hat in ihrer Jugend David Beckham als großes Vorbild gehabt. Sie hat viel Fußball gespielt und als junge Inderin in England auch aufgewachsen, hat sie immer dafür kämpfen, dass sie überhaupt Fußball spielen darf, weil ihr Vater ist strikt dagegen war. Vielleicht erinnert sie sich an die Geschichte, die im Film «Basiert like Beckham» verfilmt worden ist, weil die Jugend von unserem Gast ist die Vorlage für den Erfolgsfilm gewesen. Inzwischen ist sie von London weggezogen und in Basel ihre neue Heimat aufgebaut. Herzlich willkommen, Permi Jhooti. So now, Permi, despite living 11 years now in Basel, you're still not really capable of speaking German, but a little bit at least. Have you found your Swiss language home yet?
Well, since I grew up in England in an Indian family, I think language is not my determiner of home. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how do you handle that today? How do you handle that? Is it easy to go around in Switzerland without speaking the Swiss German?
I think I'm actually one of the most integrated foreigners in Basel. And I speak German when I'm taking Webster on my walk to the little old ladies on the river. I am completely integrated in many different groups, but you Swiss people, you know English so well, and every time the point is to communicate, the point is not to speak a particular language. And I feel very integrated here.
But going back to your childhood or to your youth, actually, you are the role model of the film Basiert like Beckham in 2002. And actually the film has one essence. And actually it's all around a young girl wanted to play football from the bottom of her heart and actually really going into it as a personal belief. I think the movie shows it very well. You were, as a young child, you were not allowed to play football like the boys, like today, it's usually in schools or even in the Sunday afternoon in the park. How was this for you at that time, having such a strong belief but not being able to live it?
I think, growing up, not being able to play football was just one of the things I felt. Because of my culture, we were not allowed to do many things, but football was a thing that I had to fight for because, when I say to you, language is not my principal way to communicate, because I was a very shy English speaker, and my way of communicating was sport. And so that was the only way I could express so many things about myself, so I had to fight to play football.
But also, I think football was your homeland for a very long time. Then you had a serious injury. What happened then? How did you come back then after that?
So, when I had my injury, I was actually thinking of giving up football, but then I had a very bad injury during a match, and I was very lucky not to die. And because when I came out of hospital, my football club asked to take their equipment back. I think again I was being told that I couldn't do something. And even though I had the best excuse not to play, I had to play. I had to come back and just recover and play one last match, so then I could say, I can play, but I don't want to. It had to be my choice.
So it's all about probably a life of fighting to do something that you want, and but also you had to fight so many barriers, but at the end you were the first Asian British female profi football player of the world, actually. How is this feeling? How is this feeling to have such an achievement?
I think what I love most about it is that I was unaware of it at the time, because I got offered a professional contract when I came back to play my one final match. And of course I knew I was one of the first professional women footballers, and it was only a few years later that I found out I was actually the first British Asian professional footballer, even before men. And I think what I love about that is that it was so unconscious. If I had wanted to be a professional footballer, I think I would have behaved differently, and I wouldn't be standing here now. If I wanted to be a professional footballer, I wouldn't have made it. And what my accident did for me was that it freed me from competition, because suddenly it doesn't matter how fast anybody else can run, because I couldn't really do much. And it freed me from competition, and it taught me that all that mattered was, it wasn't being better than you that mattered, it was me being better than I was yesterday. And so I loved the fact that I became this first, but unconsciously, just by focusing on wanting to be the best that I could be.
And actually on that part, you also have a part of the movie that you have selected, where actually, even if someone is really good in doing something, it's not able to play or actually being restricted to play. And let's have a look at that short part of the movie as well. So quite an emotional piece of the film.
Yeah.
Why did you choose this sequence?
I had to embarrass myself by crying on stage. I chose that because it's very easy for when somebody achieves something, and we always want the headline of she wasn't allowed to do it, and you can look at a parent and a parent didn't allow you to do something, and that when people tell you that you can't do something. And so it's easy to think that Permi's father said she couldn't play football and she was fighting against that, and I was not fighting against that. What I learnt as I was growing older and understanding my culture and these fights was, don't listen to the words. When somebody says to you, you cannot, when your father says to you, you cannot, he's not saying you cannot play football. He was saying, when he came to the country, the father there is saying, when he came to the country, he wanted to play cricket, he wanted to integrate, and he wasn't allowed to, and he was upset, and it hurt him. And when he's saying, you cannot, what he's saying is, I don't want my daughter to be hurt like I was. It's protection. And yeah.
And now, and actually to protect yourself, you have chosen now a new home. You have chosen a new home country, and you live now since 11 years in Switzerland, in Basel.
Yeah.
How is this for you? Do you feel home at Switzerland? Is this your chosen home, your home now?
Yes, and I love it when people say to me, you come from London. Why are you here? Is it because you're married? Is it because you're working? And I love to say, I'm here because I choose to. This concept of home, I mean, I've had other homes, but what I love about being here is that it shows me a home I've never had before. Coming to Switzerland, I was scared actually to come to Switzerland. Before, I was really worried about how it would be, because when I was growing up, I was very quiet. I finally found my voice in London, and then I thought, I'm going to come to Switzerland, and I'm going to go backwards again to that quiet person. And coming to Switzerland, and nobody caring if I was English or Indian, Switzerland seemed to care that I was me, and I found myself here, and I have a community here. I never had a community in London. I take Webster down the street, and I'm speaking to all of the locals. I found a home that I hadn't experienced before.
And I wouldn't say you have lost your language or even your voice, I have to say. So, you said a lot about Switzerland. For me, people, if they ask me why do I live in Switzerland, what do I ask, or why do I feel like being in Switzerland? Everybody says, well, the mountains, the cheese, or everything. What do you like about Switzerland?
I mean, at the beginning, it was kind of these cliches of mountains, because when I was growing up, and people would say, well, what do you want to be? And I couldn't say what I wanted to be, and I would draw mountains, and mountains were freedom for me. And so it's lovely to be in Switzerland, having progressed from this fighting football stage to this joyful celebrating and being accepted in life stage, running down mountains. For me, that was like a dream when I was a child. But all of these cliches, yes, I love cheese, yes, I love the mountains, but what I love about Switzerland is it's my Switzerland. It's what Switzerland has done for me, the wonderful people, the acceptance, the ability to be myself. That's what I love about Switzerland.
But I'm sure there's also another side of the coin. What do you don't like? I mean, there's always the two sides, is it? So, are there any things you don't like?
There must be, if I think long and hard about it. And I have this with lots of things. I can't say something that I don't like, because for everything that you don't like, there is a flip side of something wonderful. Just like for everything wonderful, there is a flip side of something not so good. So I've chosen to live here, and I will love living here. I don't want to think of anything that's bad.
So now you have quite a crowd of Swiss people here. What would you give them as a message who have actually their home in your chosen home? What would you give them as a message about Switzerland?
I think, you all grew up here. This is just, everything for you here is normal. And what I love about when I was growing up, the things that I thought were not good, about not being able to do things, it meant that when I had my freedom, I was going to appreciate my freedom. And now when I'm here, I've been here 11 years, every single morning when I go and I look at the river, because I live on the river, every single day I feel grateful. Every time I'm driving past the mountains, I'm in the mountains, I feel grateful. And I just think, I hope I never get to a point where I have been here so long that I forget how lucky I am. And I think, look at your country in the eyes of somebody who doesn't live here. And I think you should be waking up every morning and just smiling with gratitude, actually, that this is your home.
I think it's a good message. But also now you have 3 homes, and we heard before, the brain is functioning with some homes. You have 3 homes like India, Great Britain, but also Switzerland. Does it make life a little bit complicated, or is it easier for you to switch between the different homes?
I'm never switching between the homes in a way, because now I feel that India, England, Switzerland, they allow different parts of me to express themselves. And Switzerland actually was the missing part of the jigsaw that allowed everything to come together. So I feel completely grateful that I have these 3 places which are home, because I never have to... They're so different, these 3 places. It means everything is possible, every opinion is possible. The only problem, I suppose, is that you feel at home everywhere and there's always a home somewhere I'm missing.
Mm-hmm. And now, looking back in your history, in every country you lived, you had a plan.
Yeah.
Now, what's your plan for Switzerland?
My plan for Switzerland? Actually, I think it was the other way around here. I got to it 5 years ago. I thought I would leave Switzerland and go back to London. And then I took a 3-month career break. I was running research projects in biofeedback and MRI. And this 3-month break, because I thought I've worked lots, I deserve a break. And then I've never gone back to work. I've become a full-time artist. And every 6 months, when I would think this journey must be over, I would look back at the last 6 months and not be able to believe the experiences I just had. And every 6 months, when I think it must be over soon, I keep getting surprised by the new people I'm meeting, the new adventures because my life now is art and dance. Mm-hmm. I think football was the fighting, and the point of the fighting was for the joy. And I think I'm just going to carry on with these new things that Switzerland's throwing at me, these opportunities, and I'm carry on enjoying. So
it's kind of a wonderful story, but you seem also a little bit restless. Are you looking for a 4th home in the future?
No, I'm not restless. I think I couldn't cope with... I feel I have enough. I think, what more would I want? I'm being offered lots of surprises constantly in Switzerland. Every time you think, how can this place be so big? I keep meeting new people, new adventures, new projects. I'm not restless. I think I'm excited. I have a joyful life here. I couldn't cope with a 4th place where, again, there's too many other things to miss. This is enough. I'm happy.
Nothing more to say. Well, thank you very much for these open emotions and also expressions, but also, I think, great messages to the people here. Thank you very much. Liebe Gäste, wir haben heute eine Profifußballerin kennengelernt, die ihre Heimat immer wieder hat müssen erkämpfen. Und ich glaube, heute spürt man es auch, dass das, was sie macht, ihr genau Spaß macht. Vielen Dank, Permi, dass du da bist.